knew your mum loved you, you knew your sister loved you, but
Yeah.
I think at that point when you and I were speaking, you weren't sure anything else was possible.
No.
So you've been going to day centre probably since you were about 21, 22? Yeah?
Yeah.
A long time, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. We used to go as well, didn't we, to IKEA? Tell us about why we used to go to IKEA.
When we were going to IKEA, me and Sally and Caroline were choosing things for Caroline's new flat, and I was upset because I wanted to get my own flat like Caroline. Yeah,
Used to make you quite unhappy, didn't it?
yeah.
And we used to say, one day we'll come here and buy things for you, Sammy. So Hazel, should we chat to Hazel, Sammy, here?
Yeah.
So Hazel, what's your memory of Sammy at home and the family up to around 2013?
It was pretty much the way it's always been.
Why do you think that was?
It's just the way it's always been. You know, the whole thing is to keep her safe.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're going out, there's always that question, what if? So,
Yeah.
you know, it just got into a routine.
And at that point, maybe your family didn't realise there were other options.
I don't think it really, the question rose in anyone's mind. You just go with the norm, you go with the flow until someone or something happens to kind of change your thinking.
Yeah.
You just go with it.
Yeah. You used the word, Hazel, as well when we spoke before about, you used the word invisible. So what do you mean by that in terms of Sammy?
Invisible in as much as, there's 5 of us, there's 6 of us actually, and everyone, you know, gets on with their lives, you know, the ups, the downs, the exploration, all that life brings, everyone kind of like ebbs with it. With Samantha, it didn't apply. She just was there, and there was no expectation of her doing anything other than being just there. And she was invisible, you know. Things would happen, and yay, someone's got engaged, someone's got married, someone's got a baby, but the expectation wasn't there that Samantha would ever have anything other than what she had. So she was invisible because no one saw any different or expected anything different from her, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. There's no reason why you can't explore. I mean, with life, with all of us, you know, you take a step, you may fall, you get up, you try something else. There's no guarantees. And more so Samantha, I think, if she got the right structure and people in place, she has more of a chance of getting it to work than perhaps myself or, you know, you or any of our other peers. It was a case of, I can see that she wants more of life. But because something with epilepsy, and it's volatile, and it's unexpected, and it's horrible for her, must be, clearly, and it's dreadful to witness, and you journey as well when she's having really bad seizures and the accidents, the hospitals and the stitches and all of that. So I understand the need, because I too have a strong desire to protect, but there comes a point when you realise that there has to be more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to find a structure that will support you and to get that more.
Absolutely.
And that's where I thought, no, we've got to do it.
So Hazel was really listening to you, Sammy, and seeing and hearing that you really wanted something different in your life. Your family was still very worried, the rest of the family, and Hazel was worried because she loves you and wants you to be safe as well. But Hazel knew we needed to explore, so we came up with the idea, didn't we, of having a meeting that around my kitchen table that was called individual life design, isn't it? So we sat with a big bit of paper and we drew pictures and we talked about what we love about you, what people admire about you. We talked about what a good day is for you and what a bad day is, and we thought about how many good days and bad days you have. But the big thing was, we said, what would you like to happen? So Sammy, do you remember at that meeting what it was you said to everybody you wanted to do?
Move out and get more flat.
Wow. And how did that go down, Hazel?
Well, my mum was still not 100% on board, but she was there, and that in itself was a positive move. It took a lot for her to come to hear that, because I know right up until you actually stepped out and left home, she was struggling.
Oh,
it was a big moment, because some said, you know, I actually want to leave home. And there was no reservation, there was no, it wasn't coy, it was very plain. I want my own place. And so it was like, okay, then what does your perfect place look like? And that's when we started. And the colouring pencils and the post-it notes and everything came out.
Do you remember what you said was important in the place you're going to live in the future? What was important for you?
Big rooms, lot of space.
And why were you saying that? Is it just because you want a luxury pad, or was there another reason? Or why were you saying big rooms then?
Because I don't like small places.
Yeah.
I like really big rooms, stand up and just walk around.
And then one of the things as well was space so that you could walk around safely, as you said, but also so you can put cushions and make it as safe as possible, make it your own. But if you do fall and hit yourself or what have you, you've got cushions and a nice safe space that be your own that you can call home.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
And you know, and if you knock into things, you said, well, if I knock into things, I'll have a seizure. So you don't want to keep walking into things in a tiny space because you want to feel safe and well. I remember the really important bit as well when I said to you, both of you and your mum at that sort of sitting around the kitchen table, was, well, let's think of it from when you get up in the morning to the time you go to bed, because what was really important as well is for your mum to see that no one expected you to live without good support. People knew that you needed support. So we talked, didn't we? From the time you get up, what do you do? So can you get yourself dressed? Can you do this? And of course you can. I know you can. All that sort of stuff. So, but talking through the day, right from the time you got up, the time you went to bed, and we start to think about when might you need one-to-one support. So you talk very clearly about in the bathroom you would need someone there, assistance, because if you had a seizure there. So, and there are times when actually you could share your support, weren't there? Because if you're sitting watching telly, you don't want a support worker on the couch next to you all the time. you want to chill. So you need to have someone to call on. And that was the bit, and that's how we worked out, wasn't it? What type of support you needed and when you needed it. Yeah. So, okay. So the meeting happened, didn't it? And we ended up with this big picture on a piece of paper.
It did.
What happened with that then?
A copy of that. We each had a copy, and then a copy went to the social worker, didn't it?
I did.
Yeah.
And I had one.
Still by your bed, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still there. But it went to the social worker, and what was really important we spoke about, you didn't want to go to the social worker and say, we don't know what we want.
Yeah.
You went to a social worker and said, this is what I want. You know, and she read it, didn't she? Yeah. And so you didn't take everything in the plan, did you? But it was very clear that you went as a family really strong to social service and said, okay, mum's in her 70s.
Yeah.
You know, sister lives out of London and things, and you don't want to live with your sisters and brothers and things forever. You want your own place. And then it started to happen, didn't it? So in 2013, was that the meeting with Lillian?
That's when we all got together, and that working document that we worked on came out on the table, and it was very much, this is what we need and why we need it. And she said, I know a provider that I can contact, and we'll sort of pass it on to them and see, you know, what they can do. And that's what happened.
And that led to a conversation in the cafe?
Yeah.
That we'll come on to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to 2014, okay? So, a lovely link from Hazel there. In 2013, you saw a social worker who said, oh, I know someone who may be able to help. Hazel, what happened then?
We met for coffee, an informal gathering, and we just sat down and talked about what Sam was after, what she wanted, and type of support, where she wanted to live, and all of that sort of the nitty gritty. And the provider, a lovely lady, she said, yes, we can do this. And you know, we're involved at every step. We can make this work. Just give me some time, and I'll come back to you. And true to her word, she did.
There's a light burning bright.